Wade and Wade reacts.
We got a request to react to Kakarot197's 5 reasons why Zeon lost the 1-year war. Let's check it out.
Operation Odessa and Elrond. We start off with one that might not have had a huge impact, but an impact nonetheless. During Operation Odessa, the Zeon defenses planned to rely heavily on intel from the treacherous Federation General Elrond. Unfortunately, their plans were foiled when his true allegiance was discovered by Amuro. And other than intel, M'Quve also counted on him to slow down the Federation's advance on Odessa. All this led to the Zeon forces stationed there being overwhelmed by the much more numerous Federation forces. Had General Elrond not been found out, the Battle of Odessa could have turned out very differently, with the defenders knowing the Federation's every move. Rambaral not getting his domes. During Rambaral's pursuit of the White Base, Dozil Zabi instructed M'Quve to supply Rambaral with the brand new MS-09 dome. At the time, the newest and most powerful Zeon mobile suit on land. Unfortunately for Rambaral though, M'Quve claimed that the domes had been lost during transportation because he was afraid that his clandestine mining operation at Odessa would come to light then. So instead, Rambaral got nothing. And the Giran's Greed video game series even goes as far as to claim that had Rambaral received his domes, he not only would have been able to take out the Gundam, but the entire White Base. And when considering the power difference between the Dom and the Goof, combined with Rambaral's performance with the Goof, this is absolutely no groundless conjecture. Then, with the destruction of the pivotal White Base and the survival of one of Zeon's most experienced pilots, the war could have very well ended very differently. Over-reliance on experimental mobile suits. While Zeon is often hailed for its powerful experimental mobile suits, this is also what caused their supply lines to be severely strained. Due to the enormous differences between Zeon's various machines, it simply wasn't able to produce and sustain the mobile suits that the front lines demanded. At the end of the war, this resulted in the 5 years old and obsolete MS-05B Zaku 1 once again seeing frontline duty along the state-of-the-art MS-14 Gelgoog. Another result of rushing out experimental mobile suits to the battlefield was that they were more prone to failure since there hadn't been any time to correct any possible problems, as evidenced with the MS and Zeta. This would then only worsen the already bad state of Zeon's production capabilities, as valuable resources were being used in all the wrong places. It wasn't until very late into the war that Zeon realized the full extent of this problem and launched the United Maintenance Plan, an attempt to use standardized parts for their main frontline machines. But by this time, it was already too late.
Started out like that.
Kakarot Zabi. While there's no denying that Kakarot Zabi contributed a lot to the Zeon war effort, she also made some unfortunate missteps. The first one was reintegrating Char Aznable into the Zeon military while being fully aware of his real identity. Char then led a rushed and undermanned assault on the Federation headquarters, Jaburo, resulting in a massive loss for Zeon. At the end of the war then, Kakarot would really regret this decision as she was killed by him.
Shock. He should have put a spoiler alert on the screen. Damn.
The second misstep was assassinating Giran at the final battle of Abawaku. Leaving aside whether or not this was justified, this was the final drop in the bucket that caused Zeon to topple over. Kakarot had expected that she would be able to take full control of the remaining forces, but instead, many of the Giran loyalists, like Egil Delas, decided to withdraw from the battle. And when she herself was assassinated only a little while later, the few remaining troops quickly surrendered, ending the war for Zeon. And while none of these events single-handedly caused the defeat of Zeon, together they did culminate into the eventual defeat of the Principality.
They broke them down.
But there is one event that can be said is solely responsible for losing Zeon the war. Letting General Revel escape. The goal of Operation British was simple. Gas an entire colony, drop it onto Earth to show the might of Zeon, and force the Federation to accept their demands. And it almost worked. The Federation was powerless to stop them. The Earth was ravaged, and one of their best generals, General Revel, was captured. They were so close. The Federation was on the verge of surrendering, but in the 11th hour, Federation agents and Zeon traders were able to free General Revel, who had seen the true face of the Zeon forces. Rather than the juggernaut they claimed to be, he saw an exhausted army reeling from the Battle of Loon, and which was full of youngsters. He was able to give his now famous Zeon is exhausted speech in a nick of time, resulting in the Federation rejecting Zeon's demands and continuing the war. In the origin retelling, these events were given a different spin, but the end result would still be the same. Despite gaining an overwhelming tactical victory at the Battle of Loon, it did cost them a very heavy price. The loss of many experienced pilots. Something that would haunt Zeon for the rest of the war, especially near the end, when they were forced to put badly trained teenagers into their state-of-the-art mobile suit, the MS-14 Gelgoog, a machine that was intended to turn the tide of the war. But instead, when confronted with the now seasoned Federation mobile suit pilots, the Gelgoog's performance would be much lower than expected.
しかし、ゲルググドムの動きが目立たないのはどういうわけだ、トワニング。
はあ、学徒動員のパイロットが多いようですから。
学生か。
Yeah, they just went to the school and picked up some kids and said, "Here, get in these."
話は信じるが戦果だけが問題なのでな。
And to wrap up this video, one point that didn't get its own specific section was the infighting in the Zabi family. Something that was the most pronounced between Gira and Cassilia, and would come into play at numerous important times, as we've seen throughout this video. And those were the 5 main reasons Zeon lost the war. Excluding, of course, not mass-producing the Big Zam.
There's a lot of factors when Zeon taking the L. I think the main, to me, when I watched the show, the main problem was the infighting. Especially when the sister took out the brother, I was like, okay, it's over. Ain't no coming back from that.
Yeah, it seemed like their main problem was, like you said, the fighting within the Principality of Zeon, coupled with their inability to continue to produce those mobile suits at the level that they did at the beginning of the war. Maybe if you're going to engage in a war, some of the adjustments they made further along in the war, those should have been things they thought about at the beginning, because by the time they did implement those new strategies and suggestions, like Kakarot197 stated, it was much too late.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is not they didn't keep the Zaku line going. I think the Zaku stopped at Zaku too. That's the main. That's their main suit. That's the infantry suit. Like when the Samsung comes out, the iPhone, you got the 1, the 2, the 3. The Zaku should have kept going.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would have been a lot easier instead of trying to diversify the suits. I understand the reason for having a diverse lineup of mobile suits, because you want to keep the enemy on their toes and always be able to throw them off, but they should have kept it simple. I think they would have had a lot more success that way. And then you wouldn't have to worry about, like I said earlier, not being able to produce the suit that did knock the Federation off balance a bit. Now you can't make that suit anymore. And they're like, okay, this battle is easy now.
Yeah, like introducing the dime, that's cool. And then they had another one too. What was it? Was the Gelgoog? And then it's another one too. It's like those 4 suits right there were cool, but they definitely should have kept going with the Zaku, because the Zaku is pretty much all-purpose suit. You can fight in space, and they got the ground types, and they got the
high mobility.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they definitely had it made with that Zaku suit. Of course, you all know that we love Zaku's. That's our favorite mobile suit in the entire Gundam verse. But that does it for our reaction to this subscriber request. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Also, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss a video from Wade and Wade Reacts.
And we're out of here.
Peace.